Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here, your source for gaming tech, emulation, and open source news. Let's get started. Alright, to kick things off, we're talking about Nintendo 3DS emulation with Azahar. Now, we've talked about the pronunciation of this emulator multiple times in multiple videos, and I believe it's supposed to be pronounced something along the lines of Azahar. However, I've been told that is also an incorrect pronunciation. And every time I pronounce it, people correct me in the comments below. So I'm just going to stick with Azahar here and be done with it. Anyways, 3DS emulator Azahar just got a brand new update. So at the time of filming, Azahar 2121 Release Candidate 1 is the latest update. And this is experimental, so some things might be broken, some things might not work as anticipated. And that's because it's a release candidate, not a stable release. Anyways, here, if you're into testing things, you might be interested in what this one has to offer. Now, I'd say this one is a pretty big update. I mean, there's a whole bunch of fixes, improvements, and new features, and even more. There's Android-specific stuff, Linux-specific stuff, macOS-specific stuff, and even more. Re-downloading owned DLCs is now supported. They added a brand new turbo feature. They've added a new screen gap feature, which allows the gap between the top and bottom screen to be configured by the user. Here's an interesting one. The maximum value for the 3D slider has been increased from 100% to 255%. They say the maximum value possible on real hardware is 100%, so going beyond this value may cause graphical oddities. For the desktop version, they've added in quick save and quick load functionality with associated hotkeys mirroring the existing Android functionality. Over on Android, they've also added in some nifty new features. They've added a new button to the long press about menu, which allows users to open various folders related to a game, such as the location of the application's save data, DLC, mods, and even more. And in that same menu, there's now a button that allows users to uninstall a game, its updates, and DLC. On top of that, they added a new portrait layout, Original, which maintains accurate proportions for the top and bottom screen. And they've added a new expand to display cutout option, which allows the emulation display to expand to the area taken up by the camera notch. And speaking about displays, next up we're talking about a pretty cool new utility over on Steam, and this one is called ShaderGlass. So it's basically a huge overlay that can be customized to Windows or applications, games, whatever you want. In my opinion here, the best part about this one is that it's 100% free. Right now it's got a positive review score on Steam. And if you take a look at the details here, it's got a library of 1,200 plus shaders. Taking a look at some of the reviews, and this person here says, tons of CRT shaders and filters, and the best part, it's super easy to use. Just start ShaderGlass, press Ctrl-Shift-G, and voila, full screen CRT overlay for everything. Basically, it's like Reshade for beginners. And scrolling down, this person says, dishonest product pretending to do one thing, but in reality does something entirely different. I wouldn't suggest putting this on your computer. Who knows what the hell could happen? I'm not certain if they understand the purpose of this. Anyways here, let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below. And speaking about free stuff, next up here we're talking about Felix86. And this project was just announced and it's already available. They say here, play x86 64 games on RISC V devices. Now, if you're interested in this one and wanted to learn more about it, like everything we talk about, links are in the description below right at the bottom. I don't hide my sources. There's a real nice write-up here explaining the entire project in detail. Now, this cannot currently run like huge AAA games, but at the same time, it can run some games like Balatro and Celeste and Binding of Isaac and even more. So at the time of filming, Felix86 25.05 is the latest and greatest release. It's the first release. Don't expect this thing to be perfect just yet. It's still pretty early on in terms of overall development, but at the same time, a lot of progress has been made. This first release, I would say, is pretty impressive given the overall architecture and what they're trying to do here. And there's even a compatibility list if you are interested. And speaking about releases, next up here we're talking about Banjo-Kazooie. Now, we talked about Banjo-Kazooie in yesterday's video when it was reported that a modern version of the game is pretty unlikely. However, that doesn't really stop fan projects here, and there's a brand new fan project on the way here called Banjo-Kazooie Nostalgia 64. And this one seems to be pretty expansive, and it is releasing in early access on May 7th. Let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below. Banjo-Kazooie Nostalgia 64 is set for a full release, a public release, on May 17th. This one is, well, I said it was pretty expensive. I mean, there's 9 different worlds to explore and a whole bunch of very unique elements. Next up, this is more of just a friendly heads up, but if you're interested in reading things and learning more about things, this may be up your alley. There's a brand new Edge of Emulation article out there talking about the Agatsuma TV tuner for the Game Boy Advance and Nintendo DS. And it's basically, yes, a TV tuner for the Game Boy Advance and Nintendo DS. The article itself is very well written. There's a lot of detail in here, and you may learn quite a bit. I do recommend checking it out, and again, like everything we talk about, links are in the description below at the bottom. And speaking about friendly heads-ups and interesting stuff, next up we're talking about Birch Tree. Now, Birch Tree is a homebrew game that's in early-ish stages of development. The developer here is looking for input and feedback on how to create and shape the game. If you're interested, check out the video. Feel free to contact them in the comments section of that video and give them advice. They are looking for input on how to shape this. And speaking about stuff in development, next up here we're talking about Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown 2. So this is a rumor that's out there right now, and it's all because of this tweet. They've tweeted out, well over 2 million players by now. You've revived the legend. The prince is back, and believe us, he's just warming up. A lot of people are speculating now that part 2 is on the way, or a sequel to this game is on the way. And that's really all we've got to go on right now, but a lot of people seem to be talking about it. Let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below. And speaking about not having a whole lot to go on, next up we're talking about the next Battlefield game, which has not really been officially announced yet. We don't know the release date or anything like that. All we know is there has been some closed alpha testing and, well, a whole lot of data mining. If you're interested, feel free to check out this tweet. They showcase some of the weapons that may or may not be in the game. We'll have to wait and see on that one, but I mean, it seems likely. And speaking about stuff in development, next up we're talking about Borderlands 4. Now, in yesterday's video, we talked about how Borderlands 4 was going to be showcased in a PlayStation State of Play, and it turns out it was showcased quite a bit. Not only did we get a new gameplay trailer, we've got over 20 minutes of gameplay footage. If you are curious, check out the video, but a lot of people seem to be extremely excited about this one. I mean, here are some of the comments. I really respect the commitment to split screen and co-op in general. It means a lot to us cozy couch gamers. I swear if a random NPC says Hawk Tua, I'm gonna end up in the news. Yep, the game is done. Writing is awful. Heroes no longer have charisma to push you. You can't play as the old ones. Combat pure awful. Yeah, the game should have ended at Borderlands 3. This is a millennial woke joke. Go to Sanctuary, talk to Lilith. Running and gunning, gun is running. You can kind of see you can kind of see there are mixed comments about this one, but we'll have to wait and see. I'm assuming that this game is going to sell well and be popular. I could be wrong about that, but I don't think so in this case. There just seems to be way too many Borderlands fans out there. And I mean, it doesn't look like it's going to be a bad game, but let me know your thoughts. And speaking about games that look good, next up we're talking about Hypercharge, which launches on May 30th. So here is the tweet from the team. We have no publisher support, no outside funding, no huge marketing budget. Just 5 grown adults who made this game they wished they had as kids. I'm extremely proud to announce our action figure game, Hypercharge, is launching on PS5 and 4 on May 30th. And taking a look here at the trailer for the game, and I would say this game looks really cool. I mean, let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below, but the graphics look really crisp, and I think the concept is super neat. It looks to be a fast-paced shooter where you play as a toy. It seems like there's going to be a whole lot of customizations on this one. There's split screenplay, there's story mode, and even more. I'm kind of getting Halo vibes a little bit, kind of like Halo mixed with Toy Story. I could be wrong with that comparison. If you can draw a better comparison, let me know. Next up, we're talking about the WRC, where WRC stands for Subscribe to Mr. Sujano, or World Rally Championship, depending on how you wanted to interpret that. Anyways, here it appears the WRC is parting ways with EA and Codemasters, so don't expect a new WRC game for a while. So they say here, what a ride it's been. Over the past 3 years, WRC has been elevated to another level in the gaming world, thanks to the dedication of EA Sports and Codemasters. Now our WRC gaming franchise is going in an ambitious new direction, with more news coming in the near future. Until that time, gaming fans can continue to experience the pinnacle of rallying on EA Sports WRC. This is confirmed in an announcement over on EA's website, where they say they've reached the end of the road working on WRC. and that the recently released Hard Chargers content pack will be their last expansion. So while EA is pausing development plans on future rally titles, they say that EA Sports WRC will continue to be available for existing and new players. So even though the partnership is over, the existing game seems to be still available, and I don't know for how long. And speaking about the end of the line for things, next up here we're talking about a very interesting article over on TimeExtension.com. And it's titled, "We Might Be About to Lose a Powerful Force in the World of Video Game Preservation." I recommend giving the article a read. I think it's pretty well written and covers a lot of this in detail, and the Japanese Game Preservation Society is at risk of closing its doors. Based on my understanding, the Japanese Game Preservation Society does not have enough funding and cash reserves are drying up, and it seems closure is inevitable unless the community steps in and bails them out. And speaking about game preservation, if you're a fan of Ridge Racer, you're probably going to be a big fan of this game here. So it's been announced that Arcade Archives 2 Ridge Racer will be dropping on multiple consoles on June 5th. Initially, this game was thought to be a Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive, but it turns out it's headed to PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 on the exact same day the Switch 2 is launching. And speaking about stuff launching in June, next up we're talking about Chronicles of the Wolf, which is launching on June 19th. It just got a brand new release date trailer, and this is a Metroidvania, and, well, very similar to something like Castlevania. This game is headed to PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch, and Steam. I didn't see any mention of Xbox. And there is a demo on Steam already if you wanted to check it out. And speaking about stuff launching in June, next up here we're talking about Rise of Industry 2, which is launching on June 3rd. And if you're a fan of stuff like Cities Skylines and those style of games, you may be a fan of this. This is supposed to replicate 1980s USA. And as for what to expect here, the original Rise of Industry was launched in May 2019, and it's got a mostly positive review score over on Steam. And speaking about game releases, next up here we're talking about Duck Detective: The Ghost of Glamping, and there's a brand new date announcement trailer over on YouTube. This game is releasing May 22nd for PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo Switch, and PC. And if you're into detective games and indie games, this may be up your alley. Next up here is a quick heads up. If you play BeamNG and you're on Windows and you use mods, you may want to check out this article here. And if you use a mod called American Road, you may want to uninstall that mod right away and double check to see if you've got a virus on your PC. There's an article here titled "How I Found Malware in a BeamNG Mod." Now, I don't know about you, but I find this post super interesting. It goes over the whole process that this person took to determine if there was malware, what the malware was doing, and how to get rid of it as well. So they say here they did contact BeamNG, and I believe that the mod has been pulled. But if you've been using the mod, and I think this was found out on April 1st, around that time frame here, you may want to remove the mod and possibly check your computer. And it's not an April Fool's joke. So they say here, after determining what mod is infected, they've reached out to BeamNG. They've banned the account and pulled the mod here, and they say, do take a look at your PC. Additionally here, they advise to change all of your passwords, as the malware is an info stealer that steals passwords from browsers and the Exodus crypto wallet app. Moving on, and we're talking about GameCube and Wii emulation on Xbox with Dolphin Emulator for UWP version 1.1.9. This one has just dropped in. I would say this is a pretty big update overall. It does include retro achievements. Now, if I'm wrong here, and if I am, let me know in the comments below, and I've got no issue updating with a correction in next video, but I don't believe that this is the official version of Dolphin. I think this is a fork of Dolphin, not officially supported by the official Dolphin team. Anyways, here there is button mapping support, there's the GameCube and Wii menu, and even more. Like, this is a pretty big update. And speaking about forks, next up here we're talking about Panda 3DS. And Panda 3DS is also now on Xbox. Now again, I could be wrong here, but I don't think this is supported by the official Panda team, and it is a fork of Panda 3DS, but it's now available on Xbox UWP as well. And speaking about being available, next up we're talking about the exact opposite, unavailable, and it's being reported here that Evil Dead the game is no longer on the Epic Game Store or PlayStation Store. And some people are wondering if the game is being shut down. Now, Evil Dead the game is not just available on Epic and the PlayStation Store, it's also available in a few other places here like Steam. And taking a look over on Steam, and the game is not available to be purchased. They say here, Evil Dead the game is no longer available on the Steam store. And taking a look at the Steam community, and they do have an update here, so they say, we can confirm we've begun the process of removing the game from digital storefronts. Anyone who has purchased the game will still be able to play it. We plan to keep our servers online for everyone. So I guess that's a win in terms of playing the game if you already have it, but if you're looking to purchase it, you're completely out of luck. And last up here, we're talking about Epic versus Apple, and it seems that Epic has made a pretty huge victory here, and Apple has got their hands slapped. I think The Verge here has a decent summary of everything that happened. So as part of the ruling, the judge says that Apple cannot impose any commission or any fee on purchases that consumers make outside an app. That is huge. They cannot restrict developers' style formatting or placement of links for purchases outside of an app. And they cannot block or limit the use of buttons or other calls to action. Oh, and they can't interfere with consumers' choice to leave an app. Now, as a result of this, if you're a fan of Fortnite and you've got an iPhone, you're going to like this news. So Tim Sweeney says we will return Fortnite to the US iOS App Store next week. No fees on web transactions, game over for the Apple tax. Apple's 15 to 30% junk fees are now just as dead here in the United States of America as they are in Europe under the Digital Markets Act. Unlawful here, unlawful there. So there you have it. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff. We talked about a bunch today. Feel free to discuss anything we talked about in the comments below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button. Check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate. Save your state.